Real, how are you? I just have to get you to unmute. Amazing. There we go. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Just a few little bits of last-minute prep. I'm just going to quickly send a few messages, and then we can get underway.
Sure.
So, just letting you know that there is also another session happening at the moment.
Okay.
So I'm going to quickly, I'll get you started and on the way, and then I'm going to quickly bounce to the other session as well and just get those guys started, and then I can pop back in as well.
Sure.
But yeah, just give me 1 second here. I've just got to quickly finish sending this message. But how are you doing? You're in Switzerland at the moment, right?
Yes, I'm in Switzerland, in Lugano.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the life, eh? Very nice.
Yesterday I had a good meeting with the CTO of Tether.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Paolo. So it was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Amazing, man. Awesome. Well, I guess the format today, I'm just going to I would love to hear a little bit about your history with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Sure.
And then potentially how you got involved with producing your documentary and your thought process around that, and the people you worked with, people you've met, and then potentially sort of what the future holds for you and where you think crypto is going, and just like your just general take on things at the moment. But definitely any of the work you're doing within the Bitcoin space, I'd love to kind of elaborate on and pick your brain about as well. Amazing. You're just muted. I have to ask you to unmute again. Sorry.
Is it Q&A or is it going to be me just talking?
It would be more of like a long format of you talking. So I can probe and I can sort of ask questions along the way to kind of keep things going. But generally, it's we'd love to hear most about the sort of documentary and the work you've kind of done there, and just kind of how you even thought to consider using crypto to kind of finance the thing and everything like this. So
sure.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm going to pop out for a second, but I'll be back in just another
second.
Second.
So you let me know when to start, right?
Okay, sure. So yeah, we can kick off in about 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right, amazing, Suril. I'll be back shortly.
Sure.
Yes, I am. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Suril, for our very first World Bitcoin Forum here, hosted by Unit Conference. Suril is basically going to give us an overview of the documentary that he was helping to produce with the use of crypto and Bitcoin as well, and hopefully give us a little bit of a history of his discovery of Bitcoin, where things are at now, and potentially where he sees things going. So yeah, take it away if you wouldn't mind, Suril, and I would love to hear a little bit how you got started with Bitcoin in the first place and what your sort of process was there.
Sure. So good afternoon, good morning to everyone. My name is Suril Desai. I'm a lawyer and a documentary filmmaker, as well as an artist and a poet. I discovered Bitcoin sometime back in 2012, 2013. And at that point, I was researching privatization of space exploration. And during that time, SpaceX and all was still baby companies, and they were just dreams. And, Elon was talking about it and all. And then a colleague of mine told me that I should look at Bitcoins. And I was like, what is Bitcoins? And then when I looked it up, I was like, wow, what's this? This is a complete new system, complete new alternative to traditional finance. And, I was completely enamored by it as soon as I read about it. And at that point, to keep in mind that Bitcoin was only known to be, was popular because of the dark web and Silk Route and all those things. So it didn't have a very good reputation, to say. But when I read more deeper into it, I realized that it was a technology, and like any technology, Bitcoins too can be used for good and bad at the same time. And so I read up a bit more and read a few articles and blogs, and was on the Bitcoin Talk forum and things like that. And I convinced my father who is the founder of the law firm Suril Desai Associates, that we should look at Bitcoins more seriously. And, even he was a bit hesitant at that point to touch something like cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins at that point of in time because of its reputation. And but after I showed him some of my research material, he was quite okay with us taking up a research project on studying Bitcoins and its implication on law and society. And post that, in 2013, around October, December, I attended the first Bitcoin conference that happened in India, which was in Bangalore, which is considered to be the Silicon Valley of India. And it was organized by an organization called CoinMonk, which now today is the oldest crypto exchange in India, known as UnoCoin. And I attended it, and it was, for the time, it was, considering that Bitcoin was still being bootstrapped and everything, it was pretty expensive conference. It was like 200 euros or something like that, and for any startup kind of people, it's pretty expensive. But I ended up going for it, and it was a 2-day conference, and it was there were almost over 200 participants, and it included members from the Central Bank of India, which is known as the Reserve Bank of India, was present. There were, it was quite interesting that, even that early on, the central bank was looking at it, and after the conference, I met up with the organizers and became good friends with them. And my journey began at that point, and I was like, what is Bitcoin? They spoke about the whole technological aspects about it, and, mathematics behind it and everything, which pretty much I didn't understand. But I knew that Bitcoin would definitely have some legal issues in the future. And so I decided that, even though I had the opportunity to get in on Bitcoins really early on, I knew that my law firm would at some stage be representing the crypto community at the highest courts in India. I decided to take a step back and, resist my temptation of jumping into the trading community, because that would create a major conflict of interest for me. Fast forward to 2017, around that time, there was a big bonds. Post the conference, after I met the team, we were planning on doing a research paper and submitting it to the government of India about Bitcoins and cryptocurrency. But on 24th December 2014, Christmas Eve, the Central Bank of India comes out with its first notification against Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies, saying that, these are highly risky, and, it was, and post that, a lot of the crypto exchanges were raided by the government agencies, and some of the crypto exchange entrepreneurs were taken into judicial custody and were questioned about what it is and things like that. And post that, the crypto community was really small and nascent. It was like, mom and pop shops, and they came together and they approached my law firm. And since we had already done our research, we were in a position to make a public statement that Bitcoins per se are not illegal in India. But we had to make that message loud and clear to the government and the agencies that were holding the growth back. So we first felt that we should contact the government and, set up a committee to look into it. But then we realized that any committee that is being set up by the government would take at least 6 to 7 months for its decision to come out on their stance against or for. So we decided that we'll call a press conference where we invited some of the top press from India, which included the CNBC of India, the Times of India Group, the Z News and Bloomberg's and all of them. And we convened a press conference where we had first the crypto exchange guys talk about Bitcoins and what it is and its theoretical part. And then in between, we spoke about the legality and how it is, it's not a coin per se, so it's not covered by the Coinage Act, and how it's protected by the Constitution of India, and things like that. And and in the finale, my father, since he had already been briefed about the whole Bitcoins and everything, he comes out and he makes a public statement, says that Bitcoins per se are not illegal in India, but an ordinary person should be careful because it's a highly risky and volatile asset. And that statement was picked up by all the major press, and it became kind of like headline news in the media here. And within 2 days, the crypto exchanges were back up and running. So this was the first instance where we really played a significant role in helping the community. Post that, in 2017-16, around the ICO boom time, someone had played a major Ponzi scheme on the Bitcoin system in India. And because of that, the Reserve Bank of India came out with a notification in April of 2018, which restricted the banks in India from opening accounts for crypto exchanges and crypto users, and had instructed the banks to to shut down accounts, so they didn't have access to the banking system. And again, the crypto community was in panic, and they approached us, and we filed in May of 2018, we filed a writ petition on behalf of the community in the High Court and the Supreme Court of India. And and then we asked for a hearing, and again, a lot of this work was just passion driven, so we were cognizant that these are startups, so we wouldn't be able to charge them our legal fees the way we usually do, so we had to support the community because we believed in it. And post that, in 2020, the hearing took almost 2 years to reach the Supreme Court, and it was heard over a period of almost 2 or 3 weeks, where there was a whole bench. In fact, there were 2 hearings. One was in November of 2017. One was in the November of 2018. And that hearing, after they heard us for almost 2 weeks, they had another hearing for another 2 weeks in January of 2019. And then by the time the decision came out in 2020, on March 4th, we had made a very elaborate presentation to the Supreme Court and the judges, and had explained to them in detail what the whole system is. And we finally got a judgment in favor of the crypto exchanges and the crypto community, that the highest court in India agreed with us, and saying that the banks must lift the banking prohibition on the crypto exchanges, and that it was against the fundamental rights of the people of India. And it was too extreme a move. And since then, it was 2020, and literally a week later, we were in the COVID lockdown, and we saw that how the prices moved since then, and this was my legal side of the whole experience with crypto community and how I got involved. And during the this period of COVID, a friend of mine was working on a documentary about snowboarding in Afghanistan, and he had approached me a lot earlier, and I had offered him to give a Bitcoin at that point, but he was not too sure about taking it or not taking it, and plus he's he uses the computer, but he's not that computer savvy, so he was a bit reluctant to accept it. And so when the COVID lockdown hit, uh, I they approached me again and asked me if I could, support the documentary in any which way. So I said, like, yeah, sure, like I can send you some crypto, and so that's how I just, sent it, because I realized that crypto has a huge potential in the area of especially in the area of documentary filmmaking, where journalists and documentarians go to conflict zones, because any kind of production requires that these individuals have to keep a lot of cash on them, right, for production costs, because you don't have access to banking systems easily. You need money, you have to pay, people, and it's quite a daunting task. So we decided that, I felt that, crypto could play a major role, especially in documenting, making documentaries in conflict zones, like Afghanistan and things like that. And and so I supported the documentary. I used some of my profits I made from my crypto and funded this documentary. And then I connected with some people on a crypto group on WhatsApp and shared with them the trailer. And the crypto community group I was in, one of the gentlemen, Shahal Khan, got really excited about this documentary, because he's of Afghan origin, American of Afghan origin. And he was super excited to see it. And he said that he had not seen any positive images coming out of Afghanistan uh, in the manner in which we had got it out. And so again, the crypto community suddenly came to my rescue, and he put me in touch with another gentleman from Italy who had good connections with the Venice Film Festival. And he, and at the same time, by the time we were ready to release the documentary, it was around August 12th or 13th, I don't remember quite clearly, but it was the time when Afghanistan crisis had just begun, when the American forces were leaving and things like that. And so the timing of the documentary was really good. So we managed to get a slot at a screening at the Venice Film Festival. And also because I had partly funded it with crypto, it made it even more attractive, because it became so in the Italian press, it was talked about a lot. And they said, Beyond the Border, which is the name of the documentary, is one of the first documentaries to be funded by crypto. And now we are looking at creating NFTs of the poster, and we are looking at using the crypto community to proliferate the cause for Afghanistan, and help the people there. And so that's been my journey so far in a gist.
Amazing. That's so amazing to hear. Thank you for sharing that. So I have quite a few questions.
Sure.
I'm going to jump to the question closest to what you were just speaking about. And I'm curious, when this friend of yours actually took the Bitcoin, was he able to actually use this Bitcoin to pay some people directly with Bitcoin, or did he have to transfer it to fiat or some other kind of mechanism?
I mean, it was possible. We did try it, but the issue was that some of the freelancers they're still hesitant to accept it. So
sure.
we couldn't really quite use the crypto to its full efficiency, you know. And but I real but now everyone is like, oh shit, you should have given me the Bitcoin, you know. I would have,
Of course.
oh, had I known, you know, like retrospectively, everyone is like, oh my God, what, I missed an opportunity to, you know,
Yeah.
gain some Bitcoin. And now everyone is, you know, but I mean, I realized that it has a huge potential for filmmaking, you know, because especially when you have cross-border productions happening, you know.
No, this is absolutely true, and I think that's you've hit on a really, really important point there because I never actually thought about it previously. But if you're making a documentary out in the wilderness or in the mountains or wherever, you do need to interact with obviously local suppliers, and to carry a huge amount of cash around is obviously not the best way to be doing that. And there's no
Right.
FPOS or ATM. So if they do have mobile phones, and at one point in the future they actually have Bitcoin wallets, it'll be very easy to facilitate these transfers as well, which would be
Exactly.
really positive. And I think as things go on and Bitcoin's reputation continues to expand, I think you will even have people in the far reaches of the world who actually are looking and willing to accept Bitcoin just due to its deflationary nature as well, because I think with the current trajectory, it's only going to become more and more valuable. So just going back to what you were talking about previously, I'm just curious about what the sentiment of Bitcoin is in India as a whole, from a lot of the people you talk to, because obviously India is very entrenched in the rupee system, and it's unlikely that Bitcoin would sweep through and everyone would be transacting with Bitcoin. But what role do you think Bitcoin would actually play in the sort of wider Indian economy at some point in the future?
See, there are two things which I really see Bitcoin, and not just Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency in general, playing a major role in India. One is India is a huge recipient of wire transfers from, especially from the Middle East, where Indian laborers go
Yes,
and
in
work on the
Dubai,
oil
everywhere.
fields and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And these people, uh, you know, combined, India receives a remittance of close to $75 billion annually through wire transfers and things like small amounts, you know.
yeah.
Uh,
Wow, wow.
and they charge about anywhere between 10 and 15% commission. And, you know, like if you're sending a MoneyGram or a Western Union, or, you know, and,
Yeah,
so India ends up losing close to $7.5 billion just in, uh,
transfer process.
exactly.
Wow.
And which can be used for a lot more social purposes in India itself, right? Because India is
Mm-hmm.
not that rich a country. So that's one area where I see a huge, tremendous opportunity for crypto to make inroads, you know, help these people who are, you know, not affluent, who are kind of on the, not exactly on the fringes of society, but are not, you know, and the funny thing about the banking system is that if I want to send $1 million across cross border, I mean, the banks won't charge me anything. You know, they'll just do it like for free. But if I want to
Mm.
send $500, I have to pay like 10-15%. So if you look at
Yeah,
the banking system, it's favored in the it's favored for the rich, you know.
yeah, yeah,
And so that's one area where I see a tremendous opportunity for crypto, you know, use case in India.
yeah.
And the other use case I see is that India is a largely unbanked nation. You know, we have a
Absolutely.
huge population of India which is unbanked,
Mm.
and for the current banking system to open a billion bank accounts is going to be a huge cost. And you know, crypto wallets are so easy to open. You know, I mean, all you need is a mobile phone connection.
Yeah.
So I do see a big huge case for, you know, helping the unbanked in India.
Absolutely. And so far as the sort of deflation or the debasement of the rupee, do you think the wider population are sort of cognizant of this happening? Are they looking for safer places to put their money or investments, or what
Yeah,
is the
I
general
mean,
trend there?
we have seen a quantum jump in the number of crypto accounts that have been opened in India.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think prior to the lockdown, we had about, I think it was about 300 odd million dollars worth of crypto trading happening in India, and now it's up to almost, I mean, from what I read somewhere, it was 40 billion. I don't know how true that is, but
Sure. Wow. Yeah.
it is quite significant. And there are close to 15 million crypto wallets in India now, and it's
Mm.
increasing daily.
Okay, wow. Because yeah, this is a similar trend that I'm seeing happen in places like South Africa as well, where a large portion of the population is also unbanked. And in the last couple of years, there's been this exponential curve in wallet creation, but also cryptocurrency adoption. Now it's a huge leap, and I think that exponential curve being exponential is only just going to be increasing, because it's places like South Africa, like India, that do have problems with inflation, and just have suffered debasement for a very long time. And I think they're really beginning to look but more closely now at cryptocurrency as a hedge against that, which is
Yeah, I
really
mean,
good.
what I'm also seeing is that there's a global inflationary crisis that is unfolding globally, you know.
Absolutely, yeah,
I mean, with trillions of dollars being printed by the US Fed, and
yeah,
you know, they are increasing taxes in UK for COVID. You know,
yeah,
so inflation is becoming a major issue across the world. And I see that, and I think a lot of people are seeing that, and that's why they are rushing to buy some crypto. And I do see that as there's a correlation between that and the prices of crypto, rising.
yeah. I agree as well. I think I read a statistic somewhere that apparently in the US, 50% of the total US dollars in existence were printed in the last 12 months.
Yes.
Which is just absolutely insane. And I know that almost all countries have been following suit as they try and mitigate the damage of the pandemic. So it's a very interesting time to be alive. And I think, I mean, I'm just almost just putting on the seatbelts, and I'm just strapping myself in to just see what is really about to happen, because I've made all sorts of forecasts for where I think the world can go, but in my experience, any forecast I make is usually pretty far away from what actually ends up happening. So hopefully the transition to more stable forms of monetary exchange is not too turbulent, because I could see traditional finance really kicking up a big fight, things even getting sort of violent to a certain extent as this transition maybe starts to happen, because it is going to be a very big displacement of power and wealth.
Exactly.
And I think it's ultimately going to be for the better. So I think if everyone, at least with what we were trying to do here at Union Conference, to just try and help educate more and more people about what's actually going on and about the options that exist, I think we can actually play a good role in helping to make a better future for everyone.
Sure.
Absolutely. Well, look, thank you so much for your time today, Suril. I wish we actually could have chatted a bit longer. I've got a few more questions, but maybe I'll catch up with you another time. We can have a quick call.
Sure.
But yeah, for anyone else watching, if you guys would like to check out any of the other forums, I'm going to post a link in the chat, and you guys can all jump over to room 1, and yeah, we can get everything underway. So yeah, let me just get this link, and fabulous. All right, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
And look forward to chatting again soon.
See you.
All the best.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Bye.